Bitcoin falling sharply, but not a huge drop. The two largest offshore cryptocurrency exchanges are merging. After a week of public squabbling between the CZ and the FTX boss Sam Bankman-Fried triggered a bank run at latter exchange and an embracing forced scale zone. Subscribe the Bitcoin Thinking channel.
I'm thinking about 13,000 is kind of the level. Like if it gets there, I'd definitely be looking to, buy some Bitcoin. So 13,000, I think is where it's eventually headed. Although as a long-term investor, there's a difference between trader and investor. As a trader, you got to be really good at timing things. But if you're an investor, I don't see anything wrong with dollar cost averaging. Like if you're buying some here, holding some cash in case you get an outsized possibility to 13, then that's where you could look to add.
According to the YouTube channel's Kitco News, Bitcoin has fallen 60% over the years and other assets also suffer from the recent bearish trend. For example, the Tesla and the stocks down 52% year to date. Anmol Singh, founder of the Live Trader, said that the sees more downside for Bitcoin than the Tesla. Singh, who used technical analysis to support these trades, said that if Bitcoin were to reach $13,000, he would buy some. During an interview with the YouTube channels Natalie Bruno, Corey Clipstone is the CEO of the Swan.com and the author of the upcoming book Bitcoin's Your Bright Orange Future. He is an advisor to the Riot Blockchains and the Bitcoin Venture Fund and a partner in the Bitcoin Ventures and the EI Zone Cell Capital. As an advisor, he has supported more than 300 million of the fundraising since 2016 and as an angel has funded for more than 50 plus early stage tech companies. Before startup Calypso working on the Google, McKinsey and the Microsoft and the Morgan Stanley, he earned an MBA in the finance and the entrepreneurship from the University of Chicago.
So, okay, if you're going to be in capitalism, just because you want to give it away, that was supposedly his thing. That doesn't mean you can screw people over and scam them to get the money. That's just robbery. And I think that's the business that he's been in this whole time. And, so I just never believed it. I never believed he was actually all that smart. I think, it's one thing to be good at math. It's another thing to actually make good decisions, especially when situations are dynamic and, you're under duress and you have to make decisions quickly. And I think that's kind of what we saw is like, there's this movie called Fresh about chess that came out in the early 90s. It was Samuel L. Jackson was like the estranged father of this kid who was kind of like a little chess prodigy. And Samuel L. Jackson had been basically like an incredible speed chess player when he was younger. And he would say like, I don't care anyone. Take Bobby Fischer, take Kasparov. I don't care. Put the clock on him. And I think that's what you see, like these guys that can make great moves with lots of time to crunch the data and spend their time with it. You put the clock on them, you get in a dynamic market situation. All of a sudden the animal spirits are attacking you and everybody's hunting your positions because they know exactly which tokens you have because they have your balance sheet. And they've also seen all the things that you've pumped and dumped in the past, like Solana and Maps and Serum and all these things. Like everybody knows the big one-way directional bets. So they just had to short each of those and they would assume that other people would pile into the trade and then it has its own momentum. And that's what I talk about when I talk about a Lehman moment. It's not Lehman, what happened to the rest of the banking industry. It's what happened to Lehman and just the fact that people knew what was on their book and they knew that Lehman would be forced to sell at a reduced price and that you could just short the crap out of anything that they owned. So this happened to long-term capital management in 1998 as well, right? The correlation of all their products, everything that they owned and everything they had on their book.
An interview with the YouTube channel's Bloomberg Technology, Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, joins Imri Chain to discuss the news of the Binance recently buying the FTX after a bitter feud between the two crypto exchange owners and whether Coinbase would be considered buying the FTX US.
What happens if this deal doesn't go through, Brian? What then?
Well, it does appear that some customers of FTX would be taking losses, and that's not a good thing for anybody. And then I think the industry, needs to think about how to go on from there. And again, seek that clear regulation, get the level playing field that's enforced equally around the world. And, companies succeed, companies fail. That's part of capitalism. It happens in traditional finance as well. But it doesn't mean that the whole traditional economy gets called into question. So the same thing is true here in crypto. It just means we need to keep building better systems and have that regulatory clarity for the centralized actors.
Twitter users Markets Mob led out Binance advice cheese moves. If I am reading this correctly, CZ nukes SBC reserves. CZ requires SBC assets for the deep discount. SBF thanks the CZ for all she's done from the crypto. Other quickly jumped on the opportunity to poke fun at the Bankman-Fried and the FTX investors, including Tampa Bay quarterback Tom Brady and his ex-wife Gisele Bündchen, who took and disclosed equity stakes on the FTX last year. Terraform Labs CEO Do Kwon, who was wanted by the South Korean authorities, also weighed in the acquiring Bankman-Fried, tweeted about the acquisition with an image of the Terra Stark from the George R.R. Martin's A Song of the Ice and Fire novels, as he abandons the need to adjoin the Terracoin. While many he tries to make light of the pending acquisition, it has raised question as he whether a decentralization is just a pipe dream from the crypto. After a wave of the scandals and the liquidity problems he played several companies over the past years. Questions lingers over the where crypto investors are going to be able to the invest. Market also reacted to news the deal. Binance BNB sold after it was announced, rising about 9% to the $366.79 as of the Tuesday afternoon. Meanwhile, FTX FTT cryptocurrency, after the taking 25% to about $16 on the Monday, briefly recovered before sinking again to about $9.80. The digital asset market has been rocked by the near collapse of one of the world's biggest crypto exchanges, FTX. FTX struck a bailout deal with a larger rival Binance after a surge in withdrawals triggering as a significant liquidity crunch. Concerns about the FTX financial health reportedly triggered $6 billion of the withdrawals in just 3 days. Under a non-binding agreement, Binance will buy FTX non-US unit. FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried and the Binance CEO, Chief Executive CZ are two of the world's most powerful people in the cryptocurrency market and high-profile rivals. On Tuesday, Mr. Zhao tweeted, "This afternoon, FTX asked for help. There was a significant liquidity crunch." Also on Twitter, Mr. Bankman-Fried said, "Our team are working on the clearing out the withdrawals backlog as is. This will clear out liquidity. All assets will be covered one-one." The collapse of the FTX empire. Hello folks, it's a collection days in the US and that was going to be many focus day up until the point where Sam Bankman-Fried announces that his company FTX would enter a transaction with Binance, where the Binance CEO CZ later clarified was related to attend for Binance to acquire FTX. FTX was a huge player. According to the data from the CoinGecko, as of his morning, FTX was the 4th largest exchange by the volume. Sam Bankman-Fried is a huge donor during the midterm elections and was a leading voice on some legislation. He might still be, but is a company going from the being fine to the signing a letter of the intent with the Binance over the course of the 2 days might have some long-term ramifications, which will have more than on this coming days, but for now catch up on the last week of this choice hour. A spat between the two of the richest people in the digital currency spills over into a crypto markets, sending Bitcoin lower and hammering the value of the other closely watched Bitcoin. The dispute pits Sam Bankman-Fried, founder of trading with the Alameda Research and the crypto exchange FTX, against the rival crypto tycoon CZ, founder of the Binance, the world's largest exchange. The Bitcoin fell below the $20,000, dropping about the 6% from the $20,000 roundabout late Monday afternoon in the New York, according to the CoinDesk. Ethereum declined about 8% to the $1,400 from $1,575. Mr. CZ this week signaled a skepticism about the stability of the digital coin called the FTT, a key of the asset produced by the Mr. Bankman-Fried FTX. Mr. CZ said last weekend it was poised to sell a chunk of the token in the coming month for the risk management purposes. Bitcoin tumbled 12.6% to the $18,000. According to the coin metrics, during the day it fell to the $17,000, its lowest level since November 2020. Ether divided 18.2% to the $11,000 after falling as low as $12,000. Those declines spread throughout the rest of the market. At one point, even a stirring steam from the stock market rally. Smaller crypto asset tied to the Alameda, the trading company also owned by the FTX chief executive Sam Bankman-Fried, suffered some of the biggest losses. FTX token, the native tokens of the FTX trading platform, pledged 76.4%. In crypto equities, Coinbase slid 10.8% and Robinhood, which is also a crypto trading business and in which Bankman-Fried has a 7.6% stake, lost 19%. Other crypto-related stocks, including crypto banks, Silvergate and the Signature, the Bitcoin miners hit 8 and Riot blockchains also lost ground. The move came after Bankman-Fried announced on the Twitter that the Binance will buy FTX non-US business. Binance CEO CZ confirmed the news minute later. The deal will effect after the non-US business of FTX and the Binance. The US arms of each company, Binance US and FTX US, are unaffected. Bankman-Fried, also known as SBF, said in his tweet, the deal has not closed and the companies have more due diligence to complete, the CEOs said. The crypto market slide as trading got underway as investors worries about the solvency of the FTX swirled following recent rumors about the exchange and its sister company Alameda Research. The market briefly rebounded after the deal came together. There's a lot of the mirrors to the Celsius and Ethereum crisis that happened a month ago, and what you are seeing is investors having a deja vu and the fear leaking into the markets, said Connor Ryder, research analyst at the Kiko. That's it for today. If you haven't already, subscribe to the Bitcoin Thinking channel and turning on the red notification button so you'll never miss any new video like that one. See you next time.